How's it, guys? Thanks for tuning in again. Welcome back. I'm gonna talk about somebody making waves in the EDC community. James Rushby Industries. He started in October or November last year. Started creating parts for CZ. Started off with a compensator, and he did quite well there, and started bringing out other parts as well. So I'm going to talk about him a bit. I've got my notes, so if I look down, don't judge. It's a lot of information, and I'm going to talk a bit about him and his company. So last week I went to the shooting range with him. I was supposed to test his new part, but unfortunately he had a failure on that part during the week, although he wasn't happy with it. So he tossed that, and he still invited me out just to test what his weapon feels like with all his parts in versus my weapon, which was still standard. Overall his weapon was shooting flatter. Felt like that, less recoil. His trigger pull is almost non-existent compared to mine, and that thing was just it felt like he was squishing butter in your hands. But anyway, I've got some footage of that. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see the difference on video footage. All his parts that he has, excellent quality. He also gives a lifetime warranty on his parts. Let's start off. So first off, he started with a compensator. It's milled from a solid piece of aluminium. The price on that goes for about 1,500 rand. Sounds expensive, but obviously it reduces your recoil. Looks awesome on a firearm, and the quality of the part is just magnificent. Unfortunately you will need an extended barrel to put that on. There are ways of putting it on the normal CZ that doesn't have the extended barrel. His trigger system is called the Jackal. So it's the trigger spring. Gives you a little bit less pull weight. It's milled from solid aluminium, and then he hard anodizes it in different colors. He's got red, black, blue, gold, silver, and blue, and all of those colors look awesome. It feels awesome. So the trigger is flat. It's got a little bit of a lip on the bottom, or a little bit of a curve just on the bottom, just so that your finger doesn't get caught between the trigger guard and the trigger. But the trigger feels awesome, and paired with the kit, which is his spring kit. I'm going to talk about that next. That thing is so soft. So the kit, he calls it the kit on his website. So it consists of the reduced power firing pin spring, the reduced power hammer spring. It's got the upgraded plunger spring and the steel firing pin retaining pin. That goes for about 450 rand. You can buy these springs separately. I think if you buy them separately, it's gonna come down to about 450 or 550, something like 450, 550. But the whole kit costs you 400 rand. So it also helps reducing the trigger pull. Also a nice free modification that he showed me that you can do is polishing your trigger bar. Because it's mass produced item, it gets painted, and obviously over time the paint will wear off, but it's free just to take a piece of 1000 grit sandpaper and some oil, Q20, WD-40, even your firearm lubricant. Put a little bit of that on the sanding paper. Sand your trigger bar, not the whole bar, just the edges, and it removes the paint, and that helps a lot with reducing the friction. He's got the Nemesis pin, which he calls his extended firing pin. Helps with better strikes on the primer. He advises using it with the spring kit. He's got his reasons. Probably has to do with wear and tear. Also, lifetime warranty on the pin if you use it with your spring kit or with his spring kit. The extended firing pin goes for $650. So yeah, all in all $650 and $450 for the kit. You're gonna have less trigger pull, nice and hard primer strikes, so your firearm will go bang every time that you pull the trigger. So next up, we've got his guide rod, which is milled from solid billet stainless. That goes for about $350, which is a slight upgrade from the factory one. And now we getting to the fun stuff. So shortly after he created his Compensator, he came out with some race sights. Some people call it suppressor sights, some call it race sights. He has it as the Rdr Sites on his website, so that stands for Rdr Sites. It's basically just for a backup that you can put on the firearm if you run a red dot. The rear sight, that goes for $800. That's called the iron, so it's a blacked out iron sight. He's got his front sight, which has the dot on it, and then he's got a front sight with a piece of fiber in it. The Iron Spectre goes for $800. So the front sight fits in the standard dovetail for the CZ PO7 and PO9, and the rear sights fit standard on Glocks, but for other pistols you will have to have your slide mold a bit to be able to get them to fit. They mold from solid pieces of steel and hard coated anodized. It just makes them a bit more durable. And obviously you will want to use them as a set. Don't use your race sight or rear race sight with a standard front sight, because you're going to shoot higher, because you're going to lift your firearm's muzzle to be able to line the sights up. So obviously use them as a set. Then recently he came out with plus 2 mag shoes, which fits flush with your firearm's grip, and those look excellent. They feel good. They're also solid piece of aluminium and anodized in black, gold, silver, blue or red. The only problem is, if you do get the plus 2 shoes, you should to cut it off. If you don't want to cut the lanyard loop off, you can always order the plug from CZ. That's for your main spring at the back. Just holds the main spring in, so you don't need the lanyard loop. You can cut it off with an hacksaw or replace it with a plug that comes without the loop. And then finally he's got the Rushby base plates, which is it looks like the standard base plate on your magazine, but also it fits more secure with your grip. Okay, so the plus 2 mag shoe goes for $420 and the base plate goes for $250. Also comes in black, silver, blue, red and gold. And then I'm not sure if he still manufactures them, but also one of his first products was a plus 2 mag shoe for the guys using the PO9 mags in their PO7s. So obviously that would leave a gap between the base plate and the grip. His +2 mag shoe for the PO9 mag would eliminate that gap, also to sit flush with your firearms grip. So now what is he working on next? I'm not going to tell you what parts he is busy with, but one thing I am allowed to say is he is looking to expand to other markets like Glock, Beretta, Smith & Wesson, SIG. So soon he will start with other manufacturers as well. He already has sights for Glock 17, 19, 23, etc. But he will soon start with other parts as well for Glock. Just give him a few months still, and he will start sorting out the Glock guys as well. So I'm going to roll the footage now of the session where me trying out his pistol, getting the feel for it, and comparing the two for myself, or the standard versus the RI PO7. So yeah, head on over to Rushby Industries website. I'll put the link down below in the description, and go and have a look at his products that he's got. Get yourself something. Let's start supporting the local guys, especially him, so that he can grow his company a bit. He doesn't actually make a profit out of this. He does it purely for the passion. If you have a look at the materials he uses and the machines that he has to use for manufacturing these parts, it actually costs him more than he's already making back. So he does it purely for the passion of it. So we need to support him, especially now that we've got a local person creating something for CZ. It's just easier to get from him than ordering from America, Cajun parts or people like that. I know we've got Disney, but it's also nice to have somebody local producing his own product, especially with the time and money he spends on testing. So he will put thousands of rounds through his firearm, testing every part, and if he's happy with it, then he puts it on sale. If not, he goes back to the drawing board and he designs it again, start manufacturing again, and do the testing process again. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna bring out a video again later in the week, talk about Torch SA. They have their sale coming up, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, and the video that I'm gonna post after that will be a tutorial on installing the trigger and spring kit from Rushby. He gave me a bit of footage that he shows how to install the kit. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.